Hey, it's me, Brianca Jay, and I'm back with a brand new book review today. I'm talking about this literary classic right here. Yes, Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. Stay with me. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Well, first off, it is a literary classic. Like, this is one of those books that if you want to sound smart, if you want to sound educated, you might want to try reading, because this is the type of novel that is one of the few novels written by a black man that, or any person of color, that's in the literary canon. Like, the literary canon is the top novels of the top novels, right? This book is in it. Things Fall Apart. Things Fall Apart is a colonialist novel, which means it's set in a time where Africa is being colonized. I enjoyed it. I like it, just to start off there, and I'm going to tell you why. So, Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe, written in 1959, and I'm going to answer some standard questions you would ask if you were reading a book. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to answer those for you in hopes that if you are interested, you will go get a copy of this, because all of your cultured, smart, educated friends have read it, and you want to know what the tea is. You know what I'm saying? So, this book is not really written for people from Nigeria, actually. It is set in Nigeria, but it is written for white people. It is written for people who have not been colonized, or people who have never been to Africa, because he writes this work almost like a documentary. He tells us the food they eat, the customs of the people in his tribe. We learn about the religion and a lot of the social aspects of the civilization through this book. It's very educating, actually. So, which leads me to believe he's writing for people, Westerners, people who haven't been to Africa, people who are not from Africa, and people who have already created misconceptions about the country. Continent. Let's see. So, this fits into classic literature. It is definitely described as a classic literary work that most people will read either in college or in high school. I actually read it with my students this year in high school, so it does fit into those genres. But if you did want to read it for pleasure, it is absolutely accessible and easy to read, and a fun read, actually. I enjoy it. Let's see. Were you confused at any points while reading? I was never confused while reading this book. Chinua Achebe is a very clear, concise reader. Like, he's not poetic. It's not a lot of prose. He's no Faulkner. He's not gonna trap you in 50 word sentences. He's literally gonna tell you what happened. If I had to name a author who really uses the elements of style well, I would say is Chinua Achebe. He follows storytelling, the major tenets of the action. He uses the elements of style. He keeps it very simple, and it's very accessible and easy to read. Actually, it truly is. I cared a lot about the characters he represented to me, especially. I especially felt connected to the main character, which was Okonkwo, but also his son. I felt really connected to. This is embarrassing because I just forgot his name. He ended up changing his freaking name to Isaac, though. Not Ikemefuna. God damn it! Don't make me look. You know what I'm talking about. His real son. I got connected to him only because I felt that sense of not belonging before. I think everybody could relate to some of the themes here, like that sense of not belonging or breaking away from a tradition. I saw that in some of the characters, especially the people that converted to Christianity and Okonkwo's son. So I did feel a connection. I cared about Okonkwo a lot because I didn't think he was a bad guy. I thought he was stubborn. I thought he was unwilling to change. But even from some of the shameful acts he did while reading, I still really connected with him. Because no human perfect, and he wasn't a perfect protagonist. But I liked him. I felt connected to him, and I wanted to see him win. So I did have an emotion to the character. The plot was compelling. The plot has no choice to be compelling because it is basically the story of early colonialism in Nigeria. So it has no other aspect but compelling. Like, it's realistic for sure. It's fictionalized to the extent that there are characters and names and small events. But overall, it's historically accurate. Like, what he explains happening to the tribe due to, like, Christian exploration is very real. So it's a very compelling plot. The events were incredibly believable. I felt truly, I rocked with the story. No time in the story did I feel like this is impossible or it could never happen. While reading it, of course, Okonkwo. Chinua Achebe says a lot of things. This is an incredibly allegorical work where there are lessons throughout the entire book. And there are so many lessons. I love some of the. I can't think of any quotes off the top of my head, but I love some of the things that were said about hard work, about being a good person. Like, there were a lot of times where you could stop and really enjoy what was being said to the characters and the lessons that they teach in a very nice, relatable, understanding way. A lot of times they would teach their lessons in a way that allowed us to really connect. Like, they would tell a story, but the story would truly be about. They would tell a story, but the story will always lead to a bigger lesson, and that's what they did here. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing that. I liked it. I especially liked when, I think it's like his uncle tells them, like, a man who says nothing you should always worry about, a man who's silent, and, like, the person who's screaming you never have to fear. And I thought that was really an incredible and incredibly intelligent quote that I actually share with my students, because I think a lot of times, especially now, there are a lot of people full of wind who are just, like, talking and talking and talking. And those people are often harmless. The person that has a lot of time to talk isn't always making moves. So, he said, like, beware of the man that is silent, right? Beware of the quiet person. And I thought that was really incredible. I thought that was a very poignant idea that I could carry with me and utilize when I'm working through issues in my own life. And, so I like that quote the most. My phone just died. Other than that, I will say that I truly liked the book. I thought the book was very relatable, very smart, very intelligent. I don't have anything that I would change in the work. It's very, like, historical fiction, so I don't think there's much that you could change here and the way it impacts the work. I enjoyed many of the lessons I learned, especially when it came to, like, hubris and pride and stubbornness. Like, I feel like Okonkwo, the main character, is incredibly stubborn, and I think that's his major downfall throughout the work. He's definitely Aristotle's prime definition of a tragic hero, and it makes him really, really stubborn. Like, he's stubborn, and because of his stubbornness, he doesn't ever overcome any of his challenges, and he never adapts to a new environment. And that's why that's what I learned. I feel like that was the major thing I learned, was to be open to change and try to find a way to fit within change rather than to allow change to swallow me. I think when you're able to adapt and you're able to talk, our protagonist in this book is like this angry guy who can't like express himself, and he falls short because of his inability to express himself. So I think that communication is always important. The need to like pick and choose your battles was something that I also learned with reading this book, and the need to kind of check my own pride or be open to new ideas is some lessons that you can really learn when reading Things Fall Apart. It is a really awesome book. It teaches you a lot. If you didn't get an opportunity to read in high school, or if you're in high school and you're not reading it, or if you go to college you haven't got a chance to read it, or wherever you are in your life, hope that you can get a copy and really just take time to enjoy it. It is chock full of like funny moments, tragic moments, sad moments, lessons, ideas, and I can assure you that no one walks away from this book feeling like they wasted their time. I've read it 3 times, twice in college, and I think once postgraduate, and every time I learned something new. I actually did a really close read where I took my time and read it over like 6 weeks, and I didn't ever feel like though I was familiar with the story, it gave me time to look at the intricate details and see the eloquence of like the work. And so I think that this is an incredibly important work. I think that it tells us a lot about society, a lot about people. It tells us a lot about colonialism as well as Nigeria. And it's incredibly educating, and it's really good. Like when you go meet people from other cultures, like I met a man from Nigeria, and you know, like sometimes when you meet people, it's really hard to like build a connection, right? So I was talking to him, and he didn't really like ever give me eye contact. Like he never wanted to like really like focus on what I was saying. And then I told him like was reading Things Fall Apart, and he was from Nigeria, and he immediately like sparked up, and he looked at me and he like, oh my God, you read that? Everybody in my country reads it. It's amazing. Like we talk about it all the time. It's one of a classic. It's like one of our most important works. And like that's where we were able to build a connection. I think that's really incredible about books. That when you read works that represent other people's culture, they feel more understood, and they're likely to like lower their walls and talk to you. And that's what happened with me, and I hope that that happens with you as well. I hope that you get an opportunity to read Things Fall Apart. And if you do, I hope that you can tell me like some of the things that you loved about it, that you thought were amazing about the work, and share them with me in the comment box. And I'll be back with you. As you know, I upload videos every week all about books all the time, and I want to hear from you. So see you next week.